No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so I wasn't sure if I was going to make this video or not, just because of the nature of the content I will be talking about in this video is somewhat controversial, but in general, there's a whole lot to unpack with this one, so I wanted to dive in and see if we can get to the bottom of everything that I want to discuss when it comes to this particular anime that is currently airing as of the release of this video. I want to say it's on episode 5 if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, this is a little bit of a steamy subject matter and a little bit of yeah. In case you haven't heard, there's an anime that is airing currently, the winter 2022 season of anime, entitled World's End Harem. And I gotta tell you right away that if you're not a fan of censorship, unless you are going, you know what I'm saying, the One Piece pirate route to watch this thing, you are going to be severely annoyed and upset. Yeah, because there's censorship all over the place when it comes to this one. In fact, I would throw the argument here that this is one of the, if not the most censored anime I have ever watched. It is just, yeah. And I'm not comparing it to censorship of like back in the days of like, you know, 4Kids. Like that was a whole other level of censorship entirely, of like, you know, removing certain things, replacing cigarettes with lollipops, stuff like that. Like not that type of censorship, which I would throw out that was at the very least putting some effort into making it seamless so that unless you knew that it was being censored, you probably wouldn't catch that, especially if you was a younger child. This one is straight up like, no, we're censoring the crap out of it. And I've seen certain instances a lot smaller than this in certain series of censorship. Like for example, I remember when Terra for Mars had come out years back, the anime, when like people would be beheaded or something like that. Instead of seeing the head being beheaded, they would put like a black circle on the person's head, and just in general in acts of violence they would just put like little black circles to cover what was going on. This one, World's End Harem, the broadcast version, is taking it to a whole new level of like, dog, what are we doing here? Because if you watch the show in general, it's very gratuitous to say the least in terms of the nature of it. It gets a little bit steamy. I'll give you a brief synopsis so you can understand the nature of the show and why it gets a little bit steamy. In the year 2040, Reito Mitsuhara is a young man who was put into cryostasis while waiting for a life-saving treatment to be developed in order to cure the rare disease he suffers. 5 years later, in the year 2045, Reito awakens to discover that, in this period of time, an extremely lethal and contagious virus called the MK, Man Killer, has emerged, which mysteriously affects only males, causing the death of about 99.9% of the world's male population, except for approximately 1 million survivors who were put into cryostasis before being affected. Much to his surprise, Reito also learns that he is one of 5 men in Japan who somehow developed immunity to the MK virus, and as a result is required to participate in a breeding program by impregnating as many women as possible. Oh god, I just right now thought of Drake's album cover with all the pregnant women. So that their children can replenish the world's population. While Reito investigates the secrets surrounding the MK virus and the mysterious disappearance of his girlfriend Alyssa Tachibana, the series also shows the perspective of the other men who have developed immunity to the MK virus, each with their own circumstances. So to put it to you brief, it's the end of the world and there's 5 men that are tasked with the mission of slaying all of the punani they can get their hands on. So yeah, definitely in that type of form, you're gonna be looking at it like, whoa. But man, what happened to the days of anime? You know what happened to the days of anime where you would see a dude's arm getting blown off?
Why not right now?
You would see all sorts of stuff. Nowadays, when there's even slightly the remote idea of like, yo, dog, they about to go lay in the sheets, or hey, look at some legs or some shit like that. Like, this anime takes the cake in terms of censorship, where there's just giant black, like not a little tiny circle, not a medium-sized circle. It's just like they take, I don't even know, like it just looks so bad, the censorship, just giant black blocks that is just all distorted, and they just throw it on top of the scene where you can barely see like the 2 characters' heads or something like that. And it's not like I'm here like, oh my god, I want to see the more hentai-esque scenes. But seriously, it throws you out of the moment. Like when you're watching the scene, I'm just kind of like, Oh my god. Now when it comes to censorship, I like to look at it a case-by-case scenario, like what happened recently with Kentaro Yabuki's manga, where they were censoring certain things. I wasn't really mad at it just because morally it felt kind of gross to look at what was going on in the manga and whatnot, so I was like, I could see why they would do that, but dog, this is a little bit of a different circumstance. And above all else, one of the cool things about this series, because I haven't been into harem anime in ages. It's been a really long time. Like the last one that I can remember, and maybe I'm misremembering, maybe there's more that happened along the way, but ultimately one of the main staples that was like really big back in the day and whatnot that I was kind of into was Love Hina. Like that was a really big harem that I was like, yo dog, I kind of rocks with this. So I haven't been into a harem anime per se in a long time, but even besides the harem aspect, one of the cool things about this one is that I actually legitimately enjoy the plots. C-A-P. Now, you little dirty scoundrel. I'm not talking about the plot. I'm talking about the actual story. Like, you know, an end of the world scenario, especially in this type of instance where there's literally only like 5 men that are walking around functioning in society right now because there's like a million others that are basically frozen, and it's the end of damn near humanity and all of that jazz. Like, it's kind of a cool idea, you know. End of the world stories are always very interesting to see how they handle it and whatnot, so that already kind of gets me interested. Also, the main character, Mizuhara, he's not really like what you expect. There is a character that, for example, like he's kind of like School Days with Makoto, where he's just having a blast slaying everything, but the main character is kind of like, yo dog, that girl that I was in love with before I went into, you know, sleep because I was sick and whatnot, where is she? I'm kind of looking for her. So he's not really on that path, but some of the other characters are, and I would say if I was in this scenario, the closest I would probably be to any of these characters, it wouldn't be Mizuhara. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that, you know what I'm saying, righteous to be like, no, I want the girl that before I went to sleep 5 years ago. That ain't happening, dog. But I also wouldn't be like a scumbag neither, of like, I'm just gonna slay them all on some fucking Vince McMahon like crazy shit. Like, no, because there's another guy that has been awoken from his slumber, and his name is, I believe, Shota Doi, something along the lines of that. And this guy, he's probably more or less the closest that I would be if I was in the situation where he had a crush, even though it's pretty freaking wild, it was on his teacher, but ultimately, like, he had a crush on his teacher beforehand, or at the very least she was nice to him because he was kind of bullied or whatnot, and after he wakes up from his slumber, he just really wants to, you know, kind of be with her, because ultimately they kind of hook up, which again, a little bit wild, but what I'm saying is, in terms of like, yo dog, if I was awoken and I had the opportunity, like, they're like, yo dog, it's all out there, every one of them, which one do you want? I would probably just find the one that I like the most and rock with that one. Now, the world, because, hey, again, they're trying to, you know what I'm saying, make you repopulate the planet, ultimately is pushing him in different ways, and it's kind of messing up his whole ideology of like, yo, dog, the busty one over there, that's the one I want. They're not allowing that. But that's probably the direction I, for the most part, would go of like, yo, dog, I kind of want the teacher there, you know what I'm saying? Also, I guess I forgot to mention that this is a Jump Plus title. Some series that are on Jump Plus is like Kaiju number 8, Hell's Paradise was in there, Chainsaw Man 2 is going over there, so yeah, that's a pretty big publication, but this isn't any of those type of series. The only monsters that need to be slayed is, you know what I'm saying? But seriously, going back to the whole reason why I made this video, the censorship is outrageous, honestly, and it's just, again, a testament to the times of, yeah, anime has become mainstream, and once you start diving in the pool, the river of mainstream, yeah, the Kool-Aid starts to really dilute everything that was going on beforehand. And I'm not saying that I want anime to be the Wild Wild West where we're looking at like little kids being blown to smithereens like back in the 80s and stuff like that, but god damn, dog, if this is, you know what I'm saying, a harem anime and shit like that, like, what are we doing here? But yeah, World's End Harem, for the most part, I am enjoying legitimately the story, not just the plot. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna see where it goes, but it really is a shame that they just have all of this censorship, because again, it's slightly ruining the experience of like, oh, okay, I forgot I'm watching a harem anime and now I feel dirty. So what I'm saying here is that ultimately World's End Harem, it's something else, and I can't wait for the next episode. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and yeah, World's End Harem. Interesting harem anime. Censorship overload, and yeah, can't wait for the next one. Forever.
only